Excellent. Welcome to this Tuesday live for this last Tuesday in 2020. I hope this one finds you well. My name is Lucas Simmons, and I'm your holistic nutrition practitioner. And every Tuesday we gather here at 1 o'clock live on Facebook and then record it and drop it into the YouTube feed where you can peruse some of those contents from past weeks based on how nutrition can help you with whatever's going on for you in your life right now. And this month we've been touching on the topic of healthy aging, or what it means to age like a champ. There's a lot of different pieces at the root of it all. So today we're going to be getting into the topic of inflammaging. Do you love that? What is it? And what can you do about it? First of all, this is not medical advice. Let's be clear. Pardon my dog losing it. There is a delivery truck on the street. It's like the best time of the day for him. He's so excited about protecting us, keeping us from dying at the hands of a delivery guy. Whatever floats your boat, Max. Okay, so inflammaging. I've got a whole list of things. So inflammaging, what exactly is it? Well, it's low-grade chronic inflammation. And it's one of those pieces that is common to all of those chronic conditions that we typically associate with getting older, aging. The big hitters, right? What are the big guys? What? Obesity, cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes. Other ones that are high up on the list are anxiety. Cancer is in the top 10. Thyroid issues is slowly getting to the top 10. And there's a lot of other ones, you know, whatever. I think we're all sad enough as it is. We don't need to harp on the negative. But when these chronic health conditions show up, they've taken a really long time to show up, like years and decades, quite possibly, of biochemical things going on in the body that are contributing to what is now known as inflammaging. And that's just what it is. It's inflammation that contributes to aging, or those things we typically associate with aging. And those diseases, what is necessarily, or what is common, is not necessarily normal, is what it all comes down to. So what are some of those indicators that you may have inflammaging? It's essentially some of those things going on in your body that tell us that your body is chronologically aging, biologically aging faster than the chronological age. So say you're 50, but the skin on your face looks like you're 65, or if you're 70 and your body feels like it's a 95-year-old's body with the aches and pains. That sort of thing is what we're looking at. So what are some of those indicators? I suppose you could call it risk factors, but we'll just say, how do you know you've got inflammaging going on in your body? Well, the big hitters are if you have insulin resistance, which means are you hangry later in the afternoon? Are you short-tempered? Do you have to have snacks? Are you the person, this was me, oh my God, get me to a burger stand. I need to eat a burger. Don't talk to me. I can't do anything until I eat a burger. Oh my gosh, I can't think. I can't even formulate sentences. That is an indicator that there is insulin resistance as a possibility of what's going on in the body for you. So that's one of the indicators. Obesity. Oh, sorry. Oh, totally. I have a muffin top. So whatever, I beat you, but that is an indicator. Low energy. Absolutely. This is a really good indicator. Getting sick a lot. Do you get all the colds and flus that go through? Chronic pain. Oh boy, that's a big one. That's a really good indicator that there's inflammaging on the go. Do you have brain fog, mood, anxiety stuff? Ugh, those are all indicators. Do you have an autoimmune condition or a chronic health condition diagnosis somewhere along the way? Yeah. That's low-grade chronic inflammation going on, or inflammaging. Like, it's kind of all the same thing. We can try to come up with all the fancy words, but guess what? This is what it's called to be a human in the current day and age. And what can we do, though, to slow that process down or to stop it altogether? Can we stop it altogether? I don't know. I don't know if you can, because I think in this current way that we move through the world, it's really hard. And the list of to-do for you to go, I'm only going to be okay when I've said yes and checked the box to all of these 20 things. I don't know if that's manageable or doable. And not only that, but the stress of thinking you need to do that list, and if you just do it correctly, then you'll turn off inflammaging. The stress of that is going to undo anything you're trying to do. So first things first, bless it and get on with it. Now that you've blessed and get on with it, what are some of those little pieces you can start putting in place that will only work for you? Actually, before we get into that, I should talk about contributors because that might make more sense because it'll help us come up with what is the list of your to-do, right? So some of the contributors to inflammaging, I'll tell you some of the biggest things out of the gate. It'll be obvious if you follow me for any time, but a poor diet, poor quality diet, or improper digestion. You could be eating like a queen, but can you take that food and break it down into nutrients? Or are you only going halfway? Because an incomplete digestion, where you can't go right down to nutrients, but you're sort of going halfway, is quite possibly one of the biggest contributors to what's behind the concept of low-grade chronic inflammation, or inflammaging, if you will. Yeah, digestion. Like, it doesn't matter that you're eating well. How are you digesting? That's the question. So poor diet, yeah, and then poor digestion or hampered digestion. And if you've ever had, there are some medications like birth control pill that actually short circuit your ability to digest. Stress also shuts down your digestion. So if you have a lot of stress in your life, that's one of those contributors. That's one of those pieces of the puzzle that can make the inflammaging even worse. Sleep. How's your sleep? Are you having a hard time? That's going to be a really big contributor as well on so many levels, because of the hormonal piece, the blood sugar piece, and it really slows down your ability to clean up inflammation and move inflammation out of the body. Because first you have to do the cleanup of it, but you also have to do the moving out. And both of those pieces happen, a lot of it happens in deep, adequate sleep. So if you're having a hard time sleeping, now you're starting to gum up the works. Toxins in our environment. So I sort of talked a little bit about how digestion, if it's not working up to snuff, that could be a big contributor. Oh my gosh, like the toxins in our environment. I think of the people who are painters. How many toxins are you exposed to? The toluene, the different kinds of chemicals that are in the things you're using in your day-to-day work. If you work in an environment that has to be sanitized 72,000 times a day, you are ingesting some of those chemical cleaners. And I get it. I'm not saying like, let's stop cleaning, because we're living in a pandemic time. Like we are, yeah, I'm not saying don't clean. But what I am saying is that understand that those cleaners are going to have an impact, and they are going to add to the toxin load your body has to move out, which now contributes to that inflammaging component. So just something to keep in mind. Other things, your microbiome, if your microbiome's out of balance, that's a big contributor as well. So those are kind of the big hitters. Stress, yeah, probably the biggest contributor. You can eat well, you can really work at reducing your toxin load, you can really work at improving your digestion. But if you are stressed to the nines, you're undoing everything you're trying to do. So that's nice, Luca. Thanks. Now I'm sad. I'm going to go cry in my cup of tea. You can, because crying is a really good release to help you move through stress and let it go. Yeah. So good work. Do it. But here are some of those big hitters, because you want to know what you can do. Always, always, we want to know that's nice. Oh God, but now what? So this is what you do. I've got 5 things, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So your first one, eat real food. That's your first piece of advice. Eat real food. That will always be the biggest bang for your buck. Move away from processed foods. Start reducing your reliance on packaged foods. Start cooking from scratch. And by scratch, like I'm just warming my lunch right now in the oven while I do this live. I boiled for 3 minutes minced up parsnips and cauliflower, tossed it with butter into the oven. And then I had some leftover meatballs from a couple of weeks ago that I'm just warming in the oven. That's my lunch. Cooking simply is where it's going to happen. More on the topic of eating real food is go for diversity. Like have as many diverse amounts of foods as you can over the course of the week. Keep it simple in the meal itself, but bring in diversity. Another way to think about this is to eat with the seasons. If you eat what's naturally available in that season, then you're essentially going to be changing things up every season. Like I don't eat fresh tomatoes in the dead of winter. I eat a lot of frozen tomatoes and sauces made with that, but I'm not eating fresh tomatoes. In the summertime, I'm eating all the tomatoes I can get my hands on because it is my favorite, one of my favorites anyway. So that sort of thing. So eat real food, and ways to do that is start cooking at home, start cooking from scratch. I'm doing a meal planning batch prep kind of group class in January. Registration opens next Tuesday, week today. So get on the wait list for that. That's one of the spots you can start. Second one, get outside. Getting outside is one of the best things you can do to reduce the toxins in your environment, unless you're sitting behind an idling car. Don't be dumb. Like, come on. Use common sense. I mean, I know. It's just because I know I'm going to have some smart cookies who are going to say, what if I go outside and sit behind a car that's idling? Well, you're smarter than that. Okay, but getting outside in as many different environments as you can. For example, here in Calgary, I always think of, the environment down by the river is very different than the environment on the top of Nose Hill Park. Nose Hill Park is the highest elevation in Calgary and is very indicative of grasslands and prairie kind of landscape. Hardly any trees, grass, wind pulls through. Go down to the river, there's a bunch of trees and there's rose hips and there's all sorts of things. The microbiome of the environment by the river is very different than the microbiome on the top of Nose Hill Park. Both of those, because of their diversity, will offer your lungs and your immune system and your microbiome, which partially, well, your microbiome, you do have a microbiome of the lungs, and the microbiome of the lungs influences the microbiome in your gut. The microbiome in your gut needs balancing to help reduce the effects of inflammaging. Getting outside and breathing your biome, as Dr. Zach Bush says, is one of those really brilliant allies that costs you nothing except the gas to get there or the time for you to walk down to the river. Get outside. So eat real food. Get outside as often as you can. I'll add to that, move and groove. If you can move and groove outside, you are going to also support a reduction of what contributes to inflammaging. Moving and grooving helps your lymph system better clear things out. Moving and grooving improves your body's ability to register that blood sugar and insulin are knocking at the door to get in. It helps to regulate that insulin resistance piece that can be such a big contributor to inflammaging. So move and groove as best you can. It's good for your bones. It's good for everything. You got a body, you got to use it. Move it with what your mama gave you. Okay. Number 3, cultivate joy. I talk about this all the time. When somebody tells me, you got to reduce stress, I want to punch them in the face. Because somebody tells me to reduce stress and I'm just going to stress out and go, oh my God, like another thing I have to add to my list. How about this instead? Why don't you go do some fun things? Why don't you just prioritize fun times? That should happen on a regular, and it shouldn't be hard. It should be enjoyable. The second it's on your to-do list and it's another thing to cross off, you are adding to the stress of things. So play game cards with the people in your house. Take your dog for a walk. I don't know, do some colorful painting on your fence with chalk. Come up with ideas that will work for you in terms of cultivating joy. I recently posted about it on social media handles, so go look for those posts. Number 4, work and prioritize sleep, or maybe prioritize and really work at sleep. That is probably one of the biggest contributors. It's one of the topics I talked about in our Tuesday Lives. Go back and watch that one in the playlist on my YouTube channel. But working and prioritizing sleep is going to be that really important work to clean up from inflammation, move it out. It's the really important work that helps to balance hormones and balance blood sugars so that insulin resistance can be lowered. Sleep is the restorative piece for your brain, for your adrenals, for your entire digestive system. Your entire body needs sleep. So really work at it, prioritize it. And last but not least, I'll tell you everything I do is about reducing what contributes to inflammaging. So can you start with a simple meal today? Do you want some help? I can help you with a one-on-one consult. Get in touch. I can help you. I have an inflammation class ready to go. You can download it and access it. Those who are on the newsletter have a 50% off coupon until next Monday. So look to the newsletter to get your coupon to save 50% off. Everyone else, it's $40. Sorry, sign up for the newsletter. You'll get the coupon. So those are some of the places you can start. First things first, hit me up. I'll help you figure things out. Let's put you on the roadmap towards feeling good. Because inflammaging, while it may feel like it's so common, doesn't necessarily mean it's normal. You have the choice on what goes in your tummy and how well you can move through the day. You're responsible for yourself. Yeah. So those are some of the places to start, but do get in touch if I can help you figure things out. In the meantime, share this video with somebody you think who would gain benefit from it. I wish you well at the end of this year and into the next calendar year. Look forward to connecting with you in 2021. Salut, à bientôt.